This is a super concise explanation of my opinions, or rather, what I feel has changed between F1 2021 and F1 22. So, the first most notable thing is the brakes. If you dare to lock up, you are pretty much done for. Like seriously, look at this. Hit the brakes, turn, and the car just goes straight on. And that's with 50% brake bias. So, locking up is a much more dangerous thing to do now, and from my short experience with it so far, it pretty much means that you're better off braking slightly earlier and missing out on a bit of speed than trying to brake later and end up missing the apex by like 10 meters because of just how bad lockups are in this game. Then the second thing, listen to this. I don't know why, but the vibrations are super loud on the controller now. They're like much stronger than before. Listen. Especially the curbs. So wheel spin and the curbs are so much louder. I think it also has to do with like the physics of the game. Like low profile tires don't have as much like springiness to them, so the bumps will get transferred to the car a lot more strongly, and the game is most likely just reflecting that, I guess. So I'll just have to get used to that for sure. And then, speaking of acceleration and wheel spin, the car is a lot easier to spin now when accelerating, whereas with last year's game I could get away with, say for example this corner, I would shift down to first and then I'd shift up to second again and apply the throttle. But now, if I do the same thing, it's much more likely that I'll spin the car. And so, at the very least, you have to be at least 2 gears higher than you would be in F1 2021. I'd say in some situations, the car is actually not that bad to control. But the wheel spin just happens a lot, or the car starts to spin a lot earlier than it would in last year's game. But overall, I wouldn't say it's too much harder. It's just that you have to get used to the fact that you have to be a lot more conservative, because if the car spins, then just like when locking up, the car will most likely spin. Another thing, if we're speaking about spinning, is I find that the spins are actually kind of more savable in the initial part of the spin. Like, let me just give an example. The car is more likely to spin, but the initial part of the spin is slightly more controllable. But once again, this could be more of a setup thing than a physics thing. So let me head to the next corner. So turn the car in, right? I can still kind of do that locking the brakes thing, and it's actually not worse compared to last year. And if we turn around, if we talk about turn 12, one thing I like about these newer cars is that they feel much more planted in high-speed sections, like turn 12 for example. I can just go full throttle, the car does not understeer, it just feels very, very planted. That's one thing I really like about the physics. And once again, coming back to the wheel spin, usually when I was running these lower gears, I kind of more aggressively do this sometimes when I accelerate out of corners, but these cars are a lot more sensitive to that sort of jerky acceleration, and therefore they're more likely to spin. And so therefore you obviously want to do the short shifting thing again. Otherwise, yeah, like that. That's what I mean. Like, just like that. It happens much more easily that the car spins. And then let's continue on towards turn 1. So we covered acceleration, braking. The next thing is the curbs. I haven't really tried braking on curbs as much, so I don't have much to say about that, but one thing for sure, bumping the curbs is a lot more deadly in this game. Like, you drive over it and the car just kind of bottoms out, and the car will sort of bottom out and cause you to just understeer off the track. Let's head over to a specific corner which I think will show this the best. But I'd say also this corner right here where you can like full throttle it right there. The car feels very planted, and just another example of one of the corners where I like how stable the car is at these higher speeds. So if you brake, you turn the car in and you go over the curb, the car will sort of scrape along the curb, which is a great example of the whole low car thing, where it's like hard. Yeah, it just does that. In terms of steering response, the car feels more or less the same as last year. It doesn't feel too different in that regard, but you do have to short shift a lot. Oh yeah, one of the things I kind of struggled with F1 2021 was that whenever I was doing this thing where I was turning the car in, accelerating and short shifting at the same time, the car would sort of have like this slight jump every time you change the gears, and it made it so that it unsettles the car and causes it to spin on the exits of corners. So I found that I had to like delay my short shifting in order to not crash. Thankfully with this game, that's not really a problem anymore. You can short shift at any time and you won't have to worry too much about the car getting unstable from that. The sounds in the game are very nice though, but your overall curves are bad. The car's more likely to spin when you accelerate, so you have to short shift. Braking, you have to brake slightly earlier because locking up is a much higher risk. The risk to reward ratio with late braking is not exactly favorable, so in most cases braking earlier is better. The curbs I mentioned the curbs. If you want me to do like a proper one where I like script out everything and I say everything and give actual examples on the screen, I can do that. But yeah, so far it'll take me a while to get used to the new game. But yeah, so I'll be making lots of videos on this, so if you want to see more, please do subscribe. I'll see you next time.